Jaya Vishnavad Paramahansa Rajacharya Status Shishmadas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman Ki Shri Ram Nomi Mahotsava Ki Go Premanande. All glories to the Desama devotees. All glories to the Desama devotees. All glories to the Desama devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So, we will read some verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 10, the pastimes of Lord Ramachandra. And we will begin with, let us see, we will begin with text 2. And we'll read several verses. Tasyapi Bhagavanesha Sakshad Brahma Mayo Hari Amsham Shena Chatur Dagat Putra Tvam Praratita Surai Rama Lakshmana Bharata Shatrugna Iti Samgyaya. Being prayed for by the demigods, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth Himself, directly appeared with His expansion and expansions of the expansion. Their holy names were Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna. These celebrated incarnations thus appeared in 4 forms as the sons of Maharaj Dasharatha. Oh, thank you, Prabhu. Dhanyavad. Hare Krishna. So, yes, as we said, we'll read a few verses. I'll just read the translations. So this is now text 3. O King Parikshit, the transcendental activities of Lord Ramachandra have been described by great saintly persons who have seen the truth. Because you have heard again and again about Lord Ramachandra, the husband of Mother Sita, I shall describe these activities only in brief. Please listen. So what we have here is a very interesting point, is in Srimad Bhagavatam we have 2 chapters which are specifically dealing with the appearance and activities of Lord Ram. And this is Shukadev Goswami speaking here in Srimad Bhagavatam. And he is making the point to King Parikshit, Maharaj Parikshit, that you've already heard these things, the pastimes of Lord Ram. So I will not go through them all in great detail again, I will just touch on the main points like that. So this is interesting because, at least one very important reason why it's very interesting is that there are different versions of Ramayana. Of course, there's Valmiki Ramayana, basically, and then you get Ramcharitamanas, and you get various others. In Tamil, there are a few forms of Ramayana, and Hindi, and etc., etc. But even amongst the versions of, for example, Valmiki Ramayana, there are different versions of Valmiki Ramayana. And just as an example, the incident of Lord Rama worshipping Lord Shiva before trying to cross to Lanka, that is not mentioned in some of the versions of Valmiki Ramayana. And of course Valmiki Ramayana is the ancient, truly Vedic form of Ramayana. But even that, it's not entirely clear which stories should be accepted, which not, like that. But here we have Srimad Bhagavatam, and whatever is in Srimad Bhagavatam is accepted, and not just sort of amongst the Hindu population, but it is accepted as authoritative by the Acharyas. So therefore, whatever is described in these 2 chapters about Lord Ram, we can accept confidently, completely confidently, that this is definitely accurate. Otherwise, you get all sorts of ideas. Even you get, you know, what's his name, Ramanand Sagar made that Ramayana serial some years ago, about 10, 15 years ago. I'm sure you all saw it. So did I. But I remember a few things. The one thing I remember was Lord Ram is in Dandakaranya forest, and he's meeting the sages, and the sages are sort of preaching to Lord Ram, and the sages are saying some rather strange things to Lord Ram. I don't know if when you watched it, if you picked it up, but for example, the sages are saying some things like, it is all one, and everyone is God, and everything is God. This is called impersonalism. But according to Ramanand Sagar, at least, Lord Rama is sitting there listening, going, yes, very good. But we're sure if Lord Rama heard people say that, he would not just say, very good. He would tell them, be quiet, you nonsense, and stop talking impersonalism, because we are not all God. You know, I can tell you all one thing. You are very lucky that I am not God, because I would not be a very good God. So, this idea that we're all God is not appreciated by the Vaishnava Acharyas at all, because we're not. God is God. We are the eternal servants of God. But the thing is, it's not just Ramayana, but so many literatures you get some things have been introduced. Like there's one Purana, Bhavishya Purana, and there's a version of Bhavishya Purana in which Queen Victoria of England is mentioned. We don't think that Queen Victoria has really made it into the pages of the Puranas. She is not that qualified. So it is called interpolation, not interpretation, but interpolation. Means you have some ancient text, but in the meantime some other people come and introduce some other ideas. So Ramayana, Mahabharata, it can be very difficult to know which is authentic, which isn't, which parts are authentic, which aren't. But here in Srimad Bhagavatam, this is accepted by the Acharyas. Basically, in all the Vaishnava Sampradayas, there are one or two bones of contention, a few here and there from some other Sampradayas, but at least within our line, Srimad Bhagavatam, as we have it, is accepted across the board as being completely authentic. So therefore, the descriptions of Lord Rama that we find here in Srimad Bhagavatam, they're truly authentic. Let me read a little further. To keep the promise of his father intact, Lord Ramachandra immediately gave up the position of king and, accompanied by his wife Mother Sita, wandered from one forest to another on his lotus feet, which was so delicate that they were unable to bear even the touch of Sita's palms. The Lord was also accompanied by Hanuman, king of the monkeys, and by his own younger brother, Lord Lakshman, both of whom gave him relief from the fatigue of wandering in the forest. Having cut off the nose and ears of Suparnika, thus disfiguring her, the Lord was separated from Mother Sita. He therefore became angry, moving his eyebrows, and thus frightening the ocean. Is it okay if we just sort of carry on? So, yes, he moved his eyebrows, thus frightening the ocean, who then allowed the Lord to construct a bridge to cross the ocean.